Uncle Lippo told everyone that there are still 2 fierce battles waiting for them. The 4th round will take place on the nearby Zebel Island. Lippo brought a small box for everyone to draw lots to determine the hunters and the hunted. The candidates need to draw lots according to the order of escaping from the tower. The first one to appear is Hisoka. The second one is the weird nerve man with nails all over his body. The drawing of lots quickly ended. Everyone calmly uncovered the paper on the back of the lead. Each person's sign had a number printed on it. This number is the candidate's prey number. They need to find the candidate with the same number as the one on their sign and take their number card. There are no restrictions on methods during the exam. In short, the number cards on oneself and the target represent 3 points, while the number cards of other non-target prey represent 1 point. Candidates must collect 6 points to pass. At this time, Gon looked at the number 44 in his hand and was a little stunned. That's Hisoka's number. Meanwhile, the candidates took a small boat to the destination, Zebel Island. The beautiful tour guide, Kara, warmly greeted everyone, but she found that the candidates completely ignored him. Now everyone is waiting in battle formation. In order to hide their number cards, everyone concealed them. Leorios felt a little guilty about this and told Kurapika that if his target is him, he will definitely not show mercy. Kurapika directly said that it is natural because he will also handle it officially. As a result, Leorios was scared. Your target won't really be me, right? Killua and Gon, on the other hand, were bold. They kept their name cards on them. The 2 of them showed each other the number cards they drew. Killua found that Gon drew number 44 and was stunned. Isn't that Hisoka's number? But Killua drew number 199, and neither of them had any impression of this number. It must be a nameless small fry. But Hisoka is the most powerful among these candidates. Killua not only worried about Gon but also wanted to comfort him. However, Gon said that although he was nervous and scared, he was not hopeless. If this were a normal battle, he would definitely not be able to defeat Hisoka. But this is just about grabbing number cards. Maybe he can think of a good way. Killua left and made a promise with Gon to survive. Finally, they arrived at Zebel Island. The candidates disembarked in the order of the draw. The earlier they disembarked, the more opportunities they had to occupy advantageous terrain. Gon hid in a tree and thought about how to get the card from Hisoka. He will definitely have a direct confrontation with Hisoka, and the situation will be completely one-sided. Just as Gon was thinking about how to take advantage of the situation and deal with Hisoka, he suddenly noticed 2 people hiding in the grass under the tree. They were clearly in a hunter and prey relationship. The red-haired brother was exploring the path ahead, and not far behind him, the boy with the pink hat was shooting arrows. It seemed like he was going to take the red-haired brother's life. But when the boy with the pink hat shot an arrow, the red-haired brother seemed to have a telepathic sense and dodged to the side. Although his arm was cut, his life was saved. However, he didn't expect that the arrowhead of the boy with the pink hat was coated with a fast-acting anesthetic. As a result, the boy with the pink hat easily took the number card from the red-haired brother. Gon was stunned watching from the tree. The boy with the pink hat's actions were so smooth and natural. This gave Gon inspiration. He couldn't help but think that he probably only had this method to use. Gon immediately started special training. He put several fruits on a tree stump and practiced attacking with a fishing rod. Every time, he accurately hooked the apple. However, Hisoka was a moving target, so Gon hung the apple on a tree and practiced by shaking it. After practicing for half a day, Gon still felt something was off. Hisoka's movements were unpredictable. How could he improve his accuracy in attacking moving targets? So Gon thought of attacking birds. This time, he encountered difficulties. The birds were too fast and agile, and Gon couldn't catch them at all. Gon practiced for a whole day and realized that he had made little progress. Early the next morning, Gon washed his face and continued practicing. Despite countless attempts, he still couldn't succeed. However, compared to Gon, these birds were able to accurately catch fish jumping out of the water every time. Gon suddenly had an idea. He imitated the hunting techniques of birds and only cast his line at the moment the birds were about to catch fish. This time, he successfully caught his first bird. Gon was overjoyed. Meanwhile, in the jungle behind Gon, a little black brother had been watching him for a day and night. He applauded Gon's discovery, but he didn't hesitate to hunt Gon. However, Gon was unaware that someone was watching him. He was completely immersed in his own joy of success. In order to catch this bird, Gon's hands were covered in blisters, but he was still excited, thinking about how to find Hisoka. Just as Gon was thinking, a group of butterflies flew over. These butterflies were very bold and kept flying around Gon, refusing to leave. Gon then realized that it was because of the bloody smell on his hands. At this moment, Gon suddenly thought of Hisoka, who also had a wound on his shoulder. Gon immediately caught a few butterflies and tied them with a rope, using them to lead the way and hoping to find Hisoka's whereabouts. However, things didn't go well. Gon's butterflies flew to the red-haired man from before. But Gon wasn't discouraged. After bandaging the red-haired man's wound, he set off again to find Hisoka. At this time, a group of butterflies also surrounded Hisoka. He was talking on the phone with the guy with nails all over his body. One of them wasn't in a hurry to find prey, while the other didn't want to find prey at all. For strong people, it was enough to randomly find a few people to attack when the test was about to end. While the guy with nails was talking to Hisoka on the phone, a hunter was aiming a gun at him. After numerous failures, Gon finally succeeded in finding Hisoka's location. He found Hisoka sitting under a big tree, enjoying the shade. Gon was sweating profusely and extremely nervous. He hid in the grass, waiting for Hisoka's next move. He wanted to attack Hisoka at the moment, just like catching a bird. Meanwhile, Leorio's was wandering around in the forest. When he wanted to lean against a big tree to rest, he heard a noise behind him. Leorio's immediately felt a chill and shouted, "Who's there?" Then, Tongpa appeared. Leorio's quickly took out his knife and assumed a fighting stance. Tongpa was startled and hurriedly took out the card he drew earlier. It was number 191. Leorio's then took out his own card, which was number 246. Leorio's had no idea who number 246 was, but Tongpa happened to know. The person's name was Ponzu. Tongpa suddenly felt his own value. After all, he knew everything about Ponzu's appearance, weapon skills, and special abilities. So he confidently negotiated with Leorio's to exchange conditions. It turned out that Tongpa had eaten some fruit earlier and had a stomachache. He wanted Leorio's, a doctor, to give him some medicine. Leorio's agreed to Tongpa's condition, and Tongpa drew Ponzu's face on the ground, telling Leorio's about Ponzu's characteristics. Ponzu liked to set traps and wait for prey to fall into them. So as long as they engaged in close combat with Ponzu, they would definitely win. Tongpa also reminded Leorio's to pay attention to the wind direction because Ponzu was also skilled in using drugs. As he was speaking, Tongpa started trembling and couldn't take it anymore. Leorio's had no choice but to quickly find medicine for him from the box. However, as soon as he opened the box, someone suddenly jumped out from behind and attacked him. It was Monkey Brother, the monkey trainer. He didn't use lethal force and took advantage of Leorio's confusion, causing things to fly everywhere. He snatched Leorio's number plate, and at the same time, Tongpa's stomachache disappeared. It turned out that Tongpa had been pretending all along, just to trick Leorio's into opening the medicine box and revealing the number plate. This way, he could easily grab what he needed without any trouble. Tongpa's target was indeed Leorio's. However, he had exchanged number plates with Monkey Brother. Monkey Brother and Tongpa looked at Leorio's and laughed heartily. They never expected such a simple trap to work. Leorio's was furious and chased after Tongpa with all his might. But despite Leorio's efforts, Tongpa, despite being fat, was surprisingly agile and Leorio's couldn't catch up to him. However, just as Tongpa was laughing and running happily, Kurapika appeared in front of him. Kurapika casually extended his leg and tripped Tongpa to the ground. He did this because he thought Leorio's was too foolish and wanted to help him. So, on a platform in the forest, Tongpa, with a swollen face and tight hands, sat on a mound of dirt. He needed to reflect on his mistakes. Later, Leorio's and Kurapika teamed up and brought Monkey Brother to Tongpa's side. Kurapika and Leorio's not only found Leorio's number plate but also obtained number plates 16 and 118. In fact, Kurapika's target was Tongpa, which is why he cooperated with Leorio's to deal with him. So now Kurapika has already cleared the game, while Leorio's is still 2 points away. They still need to find Ponzu and get her number plate. The sun was almost setting, and Gon was still hiding in the bushes, observing Hisoka. Suddenly, Hisoka seemed to sense something and slowly walked towards Gon's direction. Gon became extremely nervous. Should he make a move or not? Suddenly, in the grass in front of Gon, a bearded man stood up. It turned out that there were more people hiding besides Gon. The bearded man took out a long spear and started fighting Hisoka. But Hisoka didn't fight back, he just elegantly dodged the attacks. This surprised Gon because he thought he was about to encounter Hisoka and have a chance to attack. Now the bearded man was already exhausted, and Hisoka only needed to buy time. The bearded man would end up killing himself, because he realized that the bearded man had been seriously injured by someone else. But the bearded man didn't believe it and swung his spear towards Hisoka. Unexpectedly, a bunch of nen needles suddenly flew towards him, pinning the bearded man down. It turned out that the bearded man was the target of Gitarakers. Gitarakers not only obtained the number plate he needed but also gave the extra number plates to Hisoka. He killed the person who had aimed at him with a sniper rifle. Gitarakers said as he pulled out the nen needles from his head. As Gitarakers removed the nen needles from his face, his appearance began to change. He transformed from an extremely ugly middle-aged man into a fair and beautiful Illumi. Illumi dug a hole and buried himself in it. He said he wanted to take a nap and told Hisoka to do his best. This scene left Gon stunned. The sky had already turned dark, and those who hadn't found their targets were still wandering in the forest. Hisoka finally stood up and decided to look for some prey. Gon followed closely behind him and started to act. But Hisoka randomly found Leorios and Kurapika as his prey. Seeing his companions in danger, Gon became even more nervous. However, he could only stay on the sidelines and follow Hisoka closely. Gon closely followed behind Hisoka, running after him. He was torn between whether he should make a move or not when Hisoka attacked. It was the best opportunity for him to get Hisoka's number plate. But if he only thought about himself, it would likely put Kurapika and Leorios in danger. What should he do? Gon couldn't make up his mind and could only act on the situation. At this time, Kurapika and Leorio still had no idea that danger was approaching. They were still discussing how to find Ponza's number plate. Suddenly, they looked up and saw Hisoka waiting for them ahead. Hisoka played with a poker card and looked at them with a heroic gaze. He calmly told Kurapika and Leorios that he was still 2 points away from 6 points. So as long as they handed over their number plates, he would let them go. Upon hearing this, Leorios instantly became furious and wanted to rush over. Fortunately, Kurapika accurately caught the hidden meaning in Hisoka's words. That was, Hisoka was actually only 2 points away from 6 points. And Leorios and Kurapika were clearly not Hisoka's targets. So, should they hand over their own number cards or try to fight for them? Currently, Kurapika and Leorios each had 4 number cards, one of which was irrelevant. Kurapika planned to give this card to Hisoka, so that Hisoka would only be 1 point away from completing the task. But if Hisoka still intended to snatch another card, then they would have to resort to force. Kurapika and Leorios revealed their weapons, determined to bite Hisoka even if they couldn't win. However, in this tense atmosphere, Hisoka suddenly smiled. It seemed as if he felt that the prey he had always been interested in had suddenly grown. This growth made him happy and made him feel that he had not made a mistake by letting them go before. Hisoka didn't want to pick the fruit that was still ripening. Therefore, he happily accepted Kurapika's suggestion and took the 1-point number card, then let Kurapika and Leorio leave. Gon anxiously hid behind a tree, sweating profusely. This result could be considered very lucky. However, suddenly Gon realized that Hisoka actually had the ability to obtain number cards without shedding blood. If Hisoka encountered another opponent who willingly handed over their number card, then Gon would likely never be able to snatch Hisoka's number card. This might be his only chance. Just as Gon was feeling a bit confused, Hisoka suddenly emitted a strange and powerful aura. This power was awe-inspiring and made Gon feel a chill down his spine. As a result, Gon immediately wanted to leave instead of fighting Hisoka. At this moment, Hisoka was in a state of extreme excitement and disappointment. Because he suppressed his killing intent and didn't attack Kurapika and Leorios, he now urgently wanted to find a target. However, Hisoka also knew that his killing intent was too strong right now and needed to be suppressed, otherwise his prey would not appear before him. So, after a night of settling down, Hisoka finally successfully suppressed his killing intent. But now, Hisoka looked even more dangerous. He walked with his hands hanging down, like a zombie, aimlessly moving forward, planning to kill anyone he saw. On the side, Gon saw this scene and immediately understood Hisoka's thoughts. He planned to go around and find Hisoka's prey before him. After some investigation, Gon finally saw an unlucky guy. He chose to choose a favorable location and planned to ambush Hisoka there and wait for him to make a move. Now, all Gon needed to do was to calm his mind and reduce his presence to the lowest level, otherwise Hisoka would definitely notice when he made a move. So, when Hisoka saw the unlucky guy, he immediately rushed towards him. But just as Hisoka and the unlucky guy were about to clash, Gon's fishing hook flew out and accurately hooked the number card on Hisoka's chest, then quickly retracted. After discovering this, Hisoka could only watch as his card was taken away. A red light flashed and Hisoka quickly knocked down the unlucky guy with playing cards. He then turned around and saw Gon. At this moment, he didn't make any unnecessary movements, just looked at Gon as he quickly fled the scene. Gon ran happily, he finally got Hisoka's number card and successfully completed the task. But suddenly, his steps became slower and slower. Gon realized that he couldn't control his legs anymore. Finally, Gon fell to the ground. The black guy who had been hiding in the dark came out of the forest. It turned out that he had poisoned Gon when he wasn't paying attention. And now, the black guy leisurely searched Gon's body and found all the number cards. He obtained 2 number cards at once, a really good harvest. The black guy wanted Gon to remember this lesson. Praying mantis catches the cicada, but the oriole is behind. These days, he had thousands of opportunities to kill Gon. At this moment, Gon could only watch as the black guy left with satisfaction. But unexpectedly, not long after, the black guy suddenly appeared in front of Gon, covered in blood. Then, Hisoka walked over. He attached a new number card to his chest, which was the number card of the black guy. Hisoka was very satisfied with Gon's operation of stealing his number card just now. He returned his own number card and the number card of Gon to him, then turned to leave. But this made Gon feel a great sense of shame. Hisoka estimated that the poison in Gon's body would last for several days, and Gon probably wouldn't be able to get up in the short term. As a result, Gon struggled to stand up from behind. He held the number card with the number 44. And rushed towards Hisoka with anger. Although he really hoped to pass this test smoothly, he didn't want to be humiliated by Hisoka. However, Hisoka completely disagreed. He punched Gon and then left with a triumphant look. Before leaving, Hisoka left a message for Gon, saying that he should come back and talk after he can throw such a punch. Gon's heart really felt an unprecedented humiliation. Killua was walking aimlessly in the forest. He clearly felt someone following him from behind. The person who had been following Killua, Imori, was very patient and planned to lurk behind Killua quietly, waiting for him to become tired or relaxed before making a move. But Killua was annoyed by being followed. "Since you won't come out, then I'll come to you." And as Killua slowly approached him, Imori trembled with fear and even wanted to turn around and run away, to escape from this terrifying place. But he didn't dare to run because Imori had 2 older brothers behind him. If his 2 older brothers found out that he fled at the critical moment, they would definitely scold him to death. Fear what comes, come what may. Imori's brothers indeed appeared. Amori and Umori stood behind Imori, looking at his pathetic appearance. Amori and Umori immediately greeted him warmly. Imori had no choice but to walk towards Killua with a fierce look on his face. Now that he had his brothers backing him up, he had the courage to directly ask Killua for the number plate. Killua naturally didn't fall for it. So Imori, who was fierce and lustful, lifted his foot and kicked Killua away. But Killua immediately flipped over and got up. He took out a number plate with the number 198 from his pocket. It turned out that while Imori was kicking him, Killua had secretly taken Imori's number plate. Unfortunately, it was number 198, and Killua needed number 199. "Is it on your brothers?" At this moment, seeing that Killua was still calm and composed, Amori and Umori finally became serious. They formed a triangular formation with Imori and surrounded Killua in the middle. However, the gap in strength between them and Killua was too great. With just one flash, Killua easily turned to the back of Imori, kicked him to the ground, and used his blade-like hand to press against Umori's neck. In this way, Killua obtained the number plates of Amori and Umori. He kept number 199 and threw away numbers 198 and 197. He also played a trick on Hanzo, who had been secretly lurking. It has been exactly 6 days. The 4th round of the test will end in 1 day, and Leorio still hasn't accumulated enough 6 points. He has no idea where Panzu is now. Leorio's, feeling a bit desperate, told Kurapika that those who completed the task in advance are probably already waiting at the finish line. Kurapika said it's impossible. The difficulty of the 4th test lies in the fact that until the last moment, no one dares to say that they have cleared it. Because there may be someone who will send their number plate to you. So as long as the test is not over, you will always be in a state of battle. However, Kurapika still decided to go to the vicinity of the finish line with Leorio's to take a look. If they happened to meet Ponzu, wouldn't that be lucky? But unexpectedly, in the dense forest near the finish line, Kurapika and Leorio's didn't see any other examinees or Ponzu. Instead, they met Gon. Now Gon and Kurapika have collected number plates worth 6 points each, while Leorio's has not succeeded yet. Later, at Gon's inquiry, Leorio's also told Gon about Ponzu's situation. But Gon didn't see any girls along the way. Gon had to ask Leorio's if there were any characteristics of Ponzu, such as being a girl or wearing some perfume that he could smell and find her. As a result, Kurapika suddenly thought that Ponzu might not have the smell of perfume on her, but she must have the smell of medicine. This girl is good at using medicine. So following the scent of medicine to find Ponzu should be correct. Gon then used his super sensitive dog nose. He stood in a high place and distinguished the wind blowing from all directions, capturing any unusual scent in the wind. Because that could be the key to finding Ponzu. Gon, along with Kurapika and Leorio's, traveled through the forest, crossed the grassland, and passed the stream, until the sunset was about to set. This day was also coming to an end, and Gon finally stopped. In front of them was a dark cave. Is Ponzu inside? Leorio's decided to explore the cave himself. After all, it was his own business, and he wouldn't let Gon and Kurapika take risks for him. Leorio's wanted Gon and Kurapika to leave, but for Gon and Kurapika, since they were a team, they couldn't abandon their teammates. This made Leorio's even suggest leaving the team, but in the end, he agreed. If he couldn't come out after 30 minutes, Gon and Kurapika would go to rescue him. Leorio's held a wooden stick and, after nervously confirming that there were no traps, lit a lighter and walked into the dark cave. But he didn't expect the cave to be very deep. In order not to alert the enemy, Leorio's extinguished the only lighter that could give him courage. He groped his way into the depths of the cave. Finally, he came to the end of the cave. There was a flickering firelight. Leorio saw a pale-faced man sitting against the cave wall in the firelight. Leorio's remembered that the man's name was Bourbon, and in the shadow of the firelight, Ponzu suddenly appeared. She asked Leorio's if he had come to find her. Leorio's immediately entered a fighting state. He knew that Ponzu was very good at using drugs and could possibly kill without a trace. But at this moment, Ponzu told Leorio's that it was all useless. Even if the two of them fought in the cave, it would be useless. Leorio's didn't understand, he just wanted to defeat Ponzu and get the number plate to pass the test smoothly. But Ponzu said that even if Leorio's won, he couldn't escape from this cave. This made Leorio's very curious. What are you talking about? Gon and Kurapika waited left and right, but Leorio's didn't come out. Seeing that 30 minutes had passed, they wondered if Leorio's was in danger. Gon and Kurapika were planning to go into the cave to take a look when they heard Leorio's shout from inside the cave. He told Gon and Kurapika not to come in. Gon and Kurapika would definitely not listen. If they hadn't heard Leorio's shout, it would have been better. But hearing Leorio shouting not to let them in, Gon and Kurapika immediately rushed into the cave at full speed. Soon they ran to the end of the cave. In the light of the fire, they saw Leorio's, who was covered in injuries, lying on the ground trembling. There were snake bodies scattered on the ground, already cut into pieces. Ponzu was still sitting in place unharmed. Gon and Kurapika quickly ran over to check Leorio's injuries. He was bitten by snakes all over his body. These snakes on the ground are venomous snakes. Gon immediately squatted down to help Leorio's suck out the venom. Fortunately, Leorio's was a doctor, and he should have some first aid supplies in his medical kit. Gon and Kurapika quickly bandaged Leorio's wounds and were about to take him away, but at this time, countless venomous snakes rushed out of the entrance. Gon and the others couldn't move forward at all. It turned out that these snakes were the prohibition set by Bourbon before he died. As long as Ponzu wanted to leave, she would be bitten to death by the snakes. And now facing so many snakes, how could they escape? At this time, Ponzu confessed voluntarily. It was her who killed Bourbon. But how he died is a trade secret. Kurapika couldn't help but take a look at this weak girl. He then walked into Bourbon to carefully examine his condition. Unexpectedly, as soon as he approached, a group of snakes suddenly surrounded him, as if protecting Bourbon. Kurapika was startled, but he also saw the wounds on Bourbon's body clearly. They looked like they were caused by venomous bees. Ponzu confirmed Kurapika's judgment. She said that Bourbon was her target. She had been following Bourbon all the time and watched Bourbon enter this cave. Therefore, at the entrance of the cave, she released a lot of hypnotic gas. By the time Bourbon entered the cave, she was already asleep. Ponzu wanted to check the situation of Bourbon, but she didn't expect snakes to emerge from all directions. Frightened, Ponzu screamed and quickly ran. Her scream happened to alert the bees that had been hiding in her hat all along. So these bees swarmed and attacked, covering the sleeping Bourbon. Then the problem came. Even if Bourbon died, the snake formation still existed. No one who entered the cave could escape. Ponzu told Kurapika and Gon that they can only wait for the members of the committee to find them now. The positioning system is inside the number plates on their chests. After the test is over, if there are still candidates who have not returned to the starting point, the members of the committee will come out to search for them. But Leorio's injuries are urgent and there is no time to wait for them. Kurapika knows very well that there should be a way to save Leorio's. And at this moment, Gon suddenly took action. He walked directly towards Bourbon and hesitated for a moment before reaching out to the body. The venomous snakes immediately rushed towards Gon without mercy. Soon, his whole body was surrounded by venomous snakes. Kurapika and Ponzu were dumbfounded by this scene. But Gon still persisted. He kept searching on Bourbon's body. Finally, he found the antidote he wanted. Gon, who was bitten all over by the venomous snakes, threw the antidote to Kurapika and then fell to the ground himself. Gon's actions really impressed Ponzu. He endured the bites of the venomous snakes and searched for a possible antidote for his friend. This child is truly loyal. Afterwards, Kurapika injected the antidote to Leorio's and Gon. Gon finally regained consciousness from his coma. But the first thing he did when he woke up was to use Bourbon's number plate to exchange for Ponzu's hypnosis gas. This made Ponzu very curious. It turned out that Gon wanted to use the hypnosis gas in the cave to put all the snakes to sleep and then lead everyone out. But this idea immediately made Ponzu feel unreliable. The hypnosis gas would take at least 5 minutes to take effect, and the cave is so long. So how could it be possible? But Gon told Ponzu that he can hold his breath for 9 minutes and 44 seconds. At this time, Ponzu was still a bit skeptical, but then Kurapika reminded her, and she finally chose to believe in Gon. So Ponzu immediately released the hypnosis gas, and after taking a deep breath, Gon successfully led everyone out of the cave by counting the time. Before leaving, Gon left Bourbon's number plate to Ponzu and took Ponzu's number plate. With this number plate, Leorio's can score 6 points. It can only be said that Leorio's was really lucky to meet Gon and Kurapika. The fourth test finally ended, and all the candidates who completed the test returned to the starting point. Originally, there were more than 20 people, but now there are only 9 people left, and 6 of them are newcomers. Thank you for watching the entire video. Don't forget to click the subscribe button, like, share, and also hit the notification bell to receive updates when the channel releases new videos. Thank you.